how social media changed human behavior. There was a time when your thoughts ended when you left the room. Now they can follow you everywhere. A photograph taken in seconds can be seen by millions. A stranger's opinion can change your mood before breakfast. And a person you've never met can suddenly become one of the most important voices in your life. Social media didn't simply give humanity a new way to communicate. It changed what we pay attention to, what we desire, how we judge ourselves, how we argue, and even how we understand reality. But the strangest part is this. Social media wasn't designed to change human behavior. It was designed to keep us coming back. And once billions of people started coming back every day, something much bigger happened. The internet began learning how humans behave, and humans began adapting to the internet. At first, social media seemed almost harmless. People posted vacation photos, friends shared jokes, families reconnected, old classmates found each other. The promise was simple. Technology would bring people closer together, and in many ways it did. But the technology evolved. A website that once showed you what your friends were doing gradually became a system deciding what you should see. The feed became personalized, the notifications became constant, the number of likes became visible. And suddenly, communication wasn't just about talking to other people, it became about being seen. That distinction changed everything. Before social media, most human communication had a natural limit. You could talk to your friends, you could call someone, you could write a letter. You could appear on television or in a newspaper if you were famous enough. But for most people, your social world was relatively small. Then platforms such as Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok transformed that equation. Suddenly, almost anyone could publish something to an enormous audience. A teenager could reach more people in one afternoon than a newspaper editor might have reached decades earlier. And this created a completely new psychological environment. Because humans have always cared about what other people think. For thousands of years, reputation mattered. Your status could affect whether people trusted you, cooperated with you, or accepted you into a group. Social media took that ancient instinct and put numbers next to it. Likes, followers, shares, views, comments. Now social approval could be measured. And once something can be measured, people naturally begin trying to improve the number. This created a new form of competition, not just for money, not just for jobs, but for attention. And attention became one of the most valuable resources on Earth. Think about what happens when you open a social media app. You don't know what the next video will be. You don't know whether someone liked your post. You don't know whether the next piece of content will be funny, shocking, inspiring, or completely bizarre. That uncertainty is important, because unpredictable rewards can be extremely powerful. The next notification might mean nothing, or it might mean someone you care about responded. The next video might be boring, or it might be the most interesting thing you've seen all day. So you keep scrolling. One more video, one more post, one more refresh. And suddenly, 30 minutes have disappeared. But the transformation wasn't only happening to our attention, it was happening to our identity. For most of human history, people had relatively stable social identities. You were known by your family, your neighbors, your coworkers, and the people in your community. Online, however, you can construct an identity. You can choose the photograph, you can choose the caption, you can delete the embarrassing moment. You can show the vacation without showing the argument. You can show the achievement without showing the failure. Social media created something humans had never experienced at this scale, the ability to continuously edit your public identity. And that created a strange psychological problem. We began comparing our real lives with other people's edited lives. Imagine having a terrible week.
You're stressed, you're exhausted, your finances are difficult, you don't know what you're doing with your career. Then you open Instagram. Someone is traveling through Europe. Someone else just bought a house. Another person is getting married. Someone is showing their perfect body. Another person appears to have the perfect family. And suddenly, your ordinary life can feel like a failure. But you're not comparing your reality with their reality. You're comparing your reality with their highlight reel. And yet the emotional response is real.
This is one reason social comparison became so powerful in the social media era. The human brain didn't suddenly evolve. The environment changed, and the brain had to adapt to an endless stream of other people's lives. But social media also changed how we communicate. Online, disagreement is different. When you're sitting across from another person, you can see their facial expression. You hear their voice. You notice hesitation. You recognize when you've gone too far. Online, much of that disappears. A person becomes a username, and a username is easier to attack than a human face. This helped create another transformation: the rise of outrage as entertainment. Anger gets attention, arguments get comments, controversy generates sharing, and algorithms don't necessarily care whether engagement comes from admiration or hatred. If people stop scrolling because they're angry, they're still not scrolling away. That creates a powerful feedback loop. A controversial post attracts attention. Attention generates engagement. Engagement signals that the content is interesting. The system distributes it further. More people react. And suddenly, a disagreement between two strangers can become a global argument. This changed politics. It changed journalism. It changed celebrity culture. And it changed ordinary conversations between friends and family. The internet didn't invent polarization. Humans have argued for thousands of years, but social media gave those arguments unprecedented speed and scale. A rumor that once might have traveled through a village can now cross the planet before anyone has time to verify it. And that brings us to one of the biggest changes of all: our relationship with information. For most of history, information was scarce. Books were expensive. News traveled slowly. Knowledge belonged to people who had access to schools, libraries, newspapers, or institutions. The internet destroyed much of that scarcity. Today, information is everywhere. But abundance created a new problem. When there is too much information, the challenge isn't finding something, it's knowing what to believe. And social media introduced a new gatekeeper. Not necessarily an editor, not necessarily a scientist, not necessarily a journalist, an algorithm. The content you see is influenced by what you've watched, clicked, liked, shared, or ignored. That means two people can open the same platform and encounter completely different versions of the world. One person sees political outrage. Another sees comedy. Another sees financial advice. Another sees conspiracy theories. Another sees sports. And each person can begin believing that their feed represents reality. But it doesn't. It represents a personalized slice of reality. This is where social media became more than a communication tool. It became an environment, and environments shape behavior. Turning point. Perhaps the biggest surprise is that social media didn't just change what humans consume. Humans began changing themselves to fit what social media rewards. Think about a photograph. Before social media, you took a picture to remember something. Now, many photographs are taken because they are expected to be posted. Think about a restaurant. You might once have chosen a meal because you were hungry. Now, presentation can become part of the experience because the food might become content. Think about travel. A beautiful location can become more valuable when it is photogenic. Think about everyday life. A moment can feel different when you know it could become a post. The camera isn't simply recording life anymore. Sometimes, it changes how life is experienced. And this is where the boundary between real life and online life begins to disappear. People don't just live their lives and then post about them. They increasingly live with the possibility of posting in mind. That is a profound behavioral shift. But there is another side to this story. Social media has also given ordinary people extraordinary opportunities. A small creator can build an audience without a television network. A musician can find listeners without a record label. A business can reach customers without a massive advertising budget. Someone living in a remote part of the world can share an idea with millions. Communities that were once isolated can find each other. People can discover support, education, entertainment, and opportunities that might never have existed in their offline lives. So the story isn't simply that social media is bad. It's more complicated. Social media amplified human behavior. It amplified creativity. It amplified connection. It amplified generosity. But it also amplified jealousy, anger, misinformation, insecurity, and tribalism. The technology didn't invent these characteristics. It gave them a megaphone.
Big picture. And now humanity is entering the next stage. Artificial intelligence can generate images, videos, voices, comments, and entire personalities. That means the social media environment may soon contain content that wasn't created by a human at all. The question will no longer be only who posted this. It may become, was there ever a person behind it? That creates a strange future. Humans created machines to help communicate with one another. Then those machines learned what humans wanted to see. And now they are becoming capable of creating the things humans see. The feedback loop is getting faster. But perhaps the most important lesson is simpler. Social media did not fundamentally change human nature. It exposed it. Humans have always wanted attention. We've always compared ourselves with others. We've always formed tribes. We've always spread rumors. We've always searched for status. We've always wanted to belong. Social media simply turned those ancient instincts into a system operating 24 hours a day across billions of people. The most important invention of social media may not be the smartphone. It may not be the algorithm. It may not even be the internet itself. It is the idea that human attention can be captured, measured, predicted, and sold at enormous scale. Once that became possible, the competition for your attention changed everything. The question isn't whether social media changed human behavior. It clearly did. The deeper question is what happens when human behavior begins changing the technology that watches it. Because every click teaches the system something. Every pause teaches it something. Every share teaches it something. And every time you scroll, you're not just consuming the internet.
Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. If you find this video interesting, please consider subscribing for more content like this.